The history of the Predator franchise is a long, exhausting sequence of optimism, disappointment, and studios confidently drawing the wrong conclusions. When Predator hit theaters in 1987 as a response to Alien, except louder, sweatier, and armed to the teeth, it became a massive success. The problem was that almost immediately afterward, everything started going wrong. Arnold Schwarzenegger declined to return for the sequel, and without Arnold's muscles acting as structural support, Predator 2 took a serious hit at the box office. After that, it genuinely seemed like the franchise was finished. But right at the end of Predator 2, someone thought it would be funny to slip in a small joke, one that producers clearly didn't realize would turn into a creative curse lasting decades. That joke eventually gave us Alien vs. Predator, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, the man who would later make a career out of Resident Evil movies. Alien vs. Predator didn't flop outright, but critics and audiences weren't thrilled. If they had known how much worse things could get, they might have been a bit more forgiving. Fox decided that the main issue was the PG-13 rating, so Alien vs. Predator Requiem was greenlit with an R rating, promising blood, guts, and profanity. Ironically, next to Requiem, Anderson's original AVP began to look almost classy. Requiem's ratings dropped into the basement. Plans for a third film were immediately abandoned, and yet, somehow, the movie still didn't technically bomb. Many believe the only thing keeping it financially afloat was the presence of the aliens, but Fox chose to ignore that detail and decided Predator deserved another solo chance. This time as a continuation of the Schwarzenegger and Danny Glover films. Robert Rodriguez stepped in, publicly declared himself a huge fan of the franchise, performed a few symbolic gestures of faith, and promised a gritty, R-rated action movie on a tight budget. Despite his enthusiasm, Rodriguez chose not to direct and instead acted as producer, handing the film to Nimrod Antal, a director whose resume consisted mainly of very average horror movies. Rodriguez's involvement didn't magically elevate the film, but by keeping the budget around $40 million, he managed to deliver a modest profit. That profit, however, wasn't impressive enough to justify his ambitious plan for 10 or 12 sequels, so Fox politely declined, shut the door, and moved on. The studio shifted its focus back to Alien, and Predator once again faded into development limbo. That might have been the end if Iron Man 3 hadn't crossed $1 billion worldwide. Its director, Shane Black, suddenly became a very important person. Knowing Fox was half-heartedly developing a Predator reboot, Black showed up and offered to fix it. His interest wasn't random. Early in his career, Black had acted in the original Predator alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he clearly felt a personal connection to the franchise. Once attached, Black immediately scrapped all existing drafts and announced that this would not be a reboot, but a direct sequel set between Predator 2 and Predators. To demonstrate their faith, Fox promised the largest budget in the franchise's history. Black's original script, however, was very different from what audiences eventually saw. Much of it had to be rewritten due to casting issues. Black desperately wanted Benicio del Toro in the lead role. Del Toro was interested and met with Black, but the endlessly dragged-out pre-production forced him to choose Sicario 2 instead. Boyd Holbrook was quickly cast and the script was rewritten to make the protagonist younger. The ending suffered as well. Black wanted to bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger's character from the original film. He personally met with Arnold and tried to convince him, but after reading the script, Arnold declined, explaining that he had no interest in appearing in such a small role. Filming began in February 2017 and quickly ran into trouble. Near the end of production, Olivia Munn informed the studio that actor Stephen Wilder, who played a supporting role, had been accused in 2010 of attempting to solicit a 14-year-old girl online. Worried about the film's reception, Fox decided to remove Wilder entirely. This decision mostly affected Munn's character, since much of her role involved scenes with him. Because Wilder was a close friend of Shane Black, the director initially defended him, arguing that the case was closed and that Wilder didn't know the girl's age. Eventually, Black backed down and publicly took responsibility for casting him. Munn later criticized the production environment as excessively macho and chaotic, claiming the constant dumb jokes made the shoot miserable, which may explain why her character feels emotionally disconnected from the film. The real damage came after test screenings. The reaction was bad enough for Fox to order massive reshoots intended to make the movie more dynamic. The entire final third was scrapped and rebuilt from scratch. Early versions included good predators helping the humans fight an upgraded super predator. All of that was removed. Edward James Olmos, originally playing a brigadier general with a major role in the final act, was cut entirely once his storyline disappeared. The film became a patchwork. The budget ballooned from $80 million to nearly $100, later reduced to $88 thanks to tax incentives. As panic set in, Fox also tried to soften the film's R rating, pushing toward PG-13 during reshoots. That's why so much of the blood is clearly CGI, added in post-production. A true PG-13 cut proved impossible due to the sheer amount of profanity. Removing it turned the movie into an incoherent montage. Released in September 2018, The Predator earned only $51 million domestically, less than Predators, which cost half as much. It also set an unfortunate franchise record, opening to just $24 million on 4,000 screens, beating Tom Cruise's The Mummy. And again, not in a good way. Worldwide numbers pushed the film barely into nominal break-even territory, and sequel plans were immediately abandoned. After Disney acquired 20th Century Fox, there were plenty of promises about respecting the franchise. What we eventually got were Prey, Predator Killer of Killers, and Predator Badlands, while Alien Romulus effectively killed Ridley Scott's Prometheus and Covenant storyline, and sent the Alien franchise in a completely different direction. So the question remains, do you actually like the recent Predator and Alien movies? And are they really better than the Predator from 2018? That was Frameback. See you on the next Rewind.